when you said I just died in your arms tonight.